I was expecting all of you to have gone through the lesson, that is part 2. And I believe at least some of you have read. How many have read? Ankush, Aniket, Shahid, Niyati, Sarvagya, Ninansha. That's it.
सर मैंने पढ़ लिया लेकिन इतने अच्छे से कुछ समझ में नहीं आया.
Have you read it once?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There may be few things that you couldn't understand. That's not an issue. We'll discuss. I'll explain that, whatever you couldn't understand. But the question is, did you read it once or not?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, there are few students who have not read it even once. That is not something that I will encourage. Chalo, before we talk about it, let me share the video on Tata Class Edge. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, it's not visible.
Yes, sir.
No, sir,
It is not
Yes,
visible.
sir. No, it's not visible.
it's not visible.
Just a moment. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Now visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The Great Stone Face.
सर इको हो रहा है.
This story is about Ernest and a mountain.
Okay. I'll mute myself.
Yes, sir.
That appears to have a face naturally carved on it. Ernest was an old man now. He had become famous for his wisdom. People came to meet him and talk to him. One day, a young poet who had moved away from the valley returned home. The poet had written poems about the great stone face. Ernest thought he bore a strong likeness to the great stone face. Ernest asked the great stone face if the poet was worthy of bearing its likeness, but the face did not reply. When the poet came to meet Ernest, they sat and talked together for a long time. When Ernest mentioned that he had hoped the poet would be the likeness of the great stone face, the poet declared that he was unworthy of the honor. Later that evening, Ernest and the poet went to a meeting to speak to some people. The poet was struck by how wise, gentle, and kind Ernest was. He declared Ernest to be the likeness of the great stone face. The people attending the meeting also saw the resemblance and declared that the prophecy had come true. But Ernest himself still hoped that someone wiser and better would appear who bore a resemblance to the great stone face.
सर ये
सर आपका माइक
Sir, आपका mic
म्यूट है।
सर ने अभी तक कुछ बोला ही नहीं।
How many people have visited the valley now? Couldn't you hear my question?
What, sir?
I asked, how many people have visited the valley now?
Sir, I think 3.
Who are the 3?
Sir, may I?
Yes.
Sir,
Sir, Mr. Gathergold.
Hmm.
Sir, the famous commander whose name
Blood and Thunder.
Blood and Thunder, and last was poet.
Okay. And who was ultimately found to be the exact resemblance of the great stone face?
No one, sir.
सर
No one out
एंटी
of these 3. Ultimately, who was found?
Sir, Ernest.
Ernest.
Ernest himself. Ernest himself was found to be the exact resemblance of the great stone face. And Ernest himself was waiting for somebody to come who has the resemblance. Ernest wanted to see the person.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because it was told that the person really great, kind, will come who has the resemblance to the stone face. He never knew that he himself was the one. वो खुद ही वो है. He was not aware of this thing. And finally, it was found. And who found it at last? That Ernest
Sir,
was
the
the
poet.
Poet.
Yes. The found that Ernest resembled the stone face. Okay. Can anyone tell me what qualities did Ernest have?
Sir, he is honest, noble, and kind man.
Honest, noble, kind. Okay.
So he is wise.
Humble.
He is wise. Okay.
Sir, he is wise, gentle, and kind man.
Okay. Very good. And simple also.
Sir, he was a hardworking, thoughtful person.
Yes. Yes. So you have suggested many words, and all of those words are appropriately suitable for Ernest. He was simple, he was kind, he was gentle, noble, somebody said. He was hardworking, someone said. He was helping, he helped others. That you said. So all these good qualities he had, he possessed. This is one thing. Now, what qualities do the 3 visitors represent? Now, this is very important. First thing that I just asked is important, the qualities of Ernest. And now,
May I?
qualities of the 3 visitors, one by one. Yes,
May
beta.
I?
Yes, yes.
Sir, Mr. Gathergold have a quality that he is very hardworking, and he represent his wealth.
Okay, he was the representative of prosperity, wealth, being rich, richness. Hai?
So,
May I?
Yes,
sir, the commander Blood and Thunder was the representative of strength.
yes. Strength, power, popularity. Hai? Good. And the third person?
May I?
Yes.
So the poet represent his thoughtful mind.
Okay. Great ideas. Ernest was impressed by the poet's ideas. है ना?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. So he was also wise. He also had great ideas. He was artistic. He was creative. That's why he became a poet. है ना?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
अभी मैं फिर से पूछ रहा हूँ. What was the prophecy? Exact word to word कौन बता सकता है prophecy?
So,
The statement about
may I?
Read the statement from the book if you want to. I want the exact word to word prophecy.
So, may I?
At some
So may I?
Statement that tells what will happen in the future.
No. I'm not asking for the meaning of prophecy. What was the prophecy in this story?
Okay.
So may I?
So may I?
Aniket.
So at some future day, a child should be born near here, so near the valley, who was destined to become
Destined. Destined.
destined to become the greatest and noblest person of his time, and whose face in manhood should bear an exact resemblance to the great stone face.
What are the two adjectives you just read?
So greatest and noblest.
और उससे पहले
destined.
नहीं. Only greatest and noblest या और भी कुछ था वहां पे?
Manhood.
Before this line, in the second line, a child will be born in the valley or near the valley. उसके बाद वाली line फिर से read करो.
Who was destined to become the greatest and noblest person of his time, and whose face in manhood should bear an exact resemblance to the great stone face.
अच्छा ठीक है, greatest and noblest. Okay. So who according to the story was ultimately found to be really the greatest and the noblest person of the valley?
So Ernest.
Ernest.
और अर्नेस्ट की कुछ क्वालिटीज आपने अभी बताई, है ना?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. And then you told the qualities that the three visitors were representatives of. जो तीन visitors थे वो जिन क्वालिटीज के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स थे वो भी आपने बताया. ठीक है. प्रॉस्पेरिटी, पावर एंड विजडम. And wisdom along with creativity, great ideas, ये सब पोएट के उसमें आ गया. ठीक है. तो प्रॉस्पेरिटी हमने देख ली, पावर हमने देख लिया, स्ट्रेंथ हमने देख ली. उसके बाद हमने क्या देखा? विजडम, क्रिएटिविटी, ग्रेट आइडियाज. ये सब क्वालिटीज उन तीनों में थी.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके.
Yes, sir.
और अर्नेस्ट में जो क्वालिटीज थी भाई, ही वॉज काइंड, है ना? ही वॉज हेल्पिंग,
Wise.
he was wise, practically wise, he was simple.
He is
ठीक
thoughtful.
है ना? तो ये सब क्वालिटीज उसके अंदर थी. तो डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज दिस स्टोरी एक्चुअली ट्राइंग टू टेल अस? ये जो पूरी स्टोरी है विच इज इन टू पार्ट्स, इसमें क्या क्या समझ में आया? हु इज रियली ग्रेट एंड नोबल?
Yes, sir.
Who is really great and noble? Not the one who is very prosperous, very rich, who has earned a lot of money. Not the one who is very strong, very powerful. Not the one who has wisdom, who is creative, who has great ideas, and with his creativity he puts on those ideas on a paper. ठीक है? These people won't be considered as really great and noble people, but the real great and noble person will be the one who has the qualities of Ernest, whereas Ernest was not literate. He was just a dweller of that valley. You can call him a simple villager. ठीक है, बट उसके बाद जो क्वालिटीज उसके अंदर थी, बिकॉज ऑफ दोज क्वालिटीज he was ultimately considered to be the noblest person in the valley who had the resemblance to the great stone face. और बहुत सारे लोग उसके पास आते भी थे for his noble ideas, for his practically wise ideas आते थे. अभी आपने इसमें पढ़ा भी है सेकंड पार्ट में, है ना?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood the idea of the story? कि चाहे आपके
Yes,
पास
sir.
बहुत वेल्थ है, प्रॉस्पेरस है, आप बहुत स्ट्रांग हैं, आपके पास पावर है, ठीक है, या आप क्रिएटिव हैं, आपके पास बहुत अच्छे अच्छे आइडियाज हैं, फिर भी you will not attain the virtue of nobility. To attain the virtue of nobility, you need to have these values which Ernest had. I hope that's clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is my voice not reaching properly?
No, sir, it's reaching properly.
No, sir, it's good.
Okay, fine. Can you see the page of this book?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So who would like to read this before you read section?
Somebody, Prakhar,
Sarvagya. Sir, Sarvagya. Sir, Sarvagya.
Prakhar,
Samriddhi.
Samriddhi.
Sir, Sarvagya.
Samriddhi.
Niyati.
Samriddhi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Many years passed. Ernest was now a man of middle age. To his neighbors, who never suspected that he was anything more than an ordinary and familiar face, he was only a humble and hardworking, thoughtful person. But was about the old prophecy. What is ever fulfilled? Let us read and find out.
देखो, he was humble, he was hardworking, he was thoughtful. Three things we have seen here. More qualities we'll see afterwards. हाँ, तो जब हमारा सेकेंड पार्ट शुरू होता है, बाय दिस टाइम what was the age of Ernest? He was a middle-aged man. He has grown up. He has attained the middle age now. Means he was somewhere in his 40s. ठीक है? Near 40. चलो. Now who will read from here? And
Sir,
quick
Prakhar.
readings. One by one. Chance. Everybody will get a chance because I am asking you to read one paragraph only. Okay, let us start with Prakhar and then others. After Prakhar, Niyati,
Yes, sir.
then Sarvati, then I'll call others.
So may I start?
Yes.
The years hurried on, and brought white hairs upon the head of Ernest, and made wrinkles across his forehead, and furrows in his cheeks. He was an old man, but not in vain had he grown old. More numerous than the white hairs on his head were the wise thought in his mind, and Ernest has ceased to be obscure, unsought for, undesired had come the fame which so many seek. He had become many famous beyond the limits of cities, of the valley. College professors and even active men of cities came from far to see and converse with Ernest, and he received them with gentle sincerity and spoke freely with them of whatever came uppermost. or lay deepest in his heart or their own. While they talked together, his face would brighten and wears and shines upon them, as with a mind evening light.
In this paragraph, you have seen that by the time he has reached to this age, he has ceased to be obscure, unsought for, undesired. है ना? Obscure, it is given here, not well known. मतलब अब वो ceased to be obscure, मतलब पहले वो obscure था. Now he is not obscure anymore. कैसे था obscure? He was not very well known. ज़्यादा लोग उसको नहीं जानते थे. He was an ordinary person as anybody could be in that valley. तो पहले ज़्यादा लोग उसको नहीं जानते थे, but अब ऐसा नहीं था. अब क्या कंडीशन हो चुकी थी? उसको सब लोग जानते थे. इस पैराग्राफ में आपने देखा है कि उसके पास कौन कौन आने लगा था. ठीक है, तो he ceased to be obscure, he ceased to be unsought for. Unsought for means जिससे मिलने के लिए लोग कोशिश नहीं करते, मिलना नहीं चाहते हैं, है ना? ऐसा नहीं था, बल्कि अब तो वो ऐसा हो गया था कि everybody wanted to see him, wanted to meet him, wanted to talk to him. ठीक है, everyone was looking for an opportunity to get close to him and talk to him. वो उसका स्टेटस अभी ये हो चुका था. ठीक है, नाउ सी कि उसके पास कैसे कैसे लोग मिलने लगे थे. आसपास देखो, उसकी जो पॉपुलैरिटी थी, उसका जो फेम था, कहां तक पहुंच गया था? इट हैज रीच्ड बियॉन्ड द लिमिट्स ऑफ द वैली. और उसके पास आने लगे थे कॉलेज प्रोफेसर्स, है ना, एक्टिव मैन ऑफ सिटी, जो काफी एक्टिव लोग होते हैं, है ना, इस तरीके के लोग, कुछ पब्लिक फिगर्स, इस तरीके के लोग उसके पास आने लगे थे. कॉलेज प्रोफेसर्स जैसे जो जिनको हम बहुत इंटेलिजेंट, बहुत एजुकेटेड लोग मानते हैं, वो भी उसके पास आने लगे थे. और क्यों आने लगे थे? टू सी एंड कन्वर्स विद हिम, उससे मिलने और उससे बात करने के लिए आने लगे थे. और जो भी उसके पास आता था, हाउ डिड ही रिसीव देम? ही रिसीव देम विद जेंटल सिंसियरिटी. वो he was never rude to anyone. He welcomes everyone, he talks to everyone very nicely, very gently, and he listens to everyone earnestly. His name was Ernest and he listened to everyone earnestly. पूरी सिंसियरिटी के साथ लोगों की बात सुनता था एंड उन लोगों के साथ बिल्कुल फ्री होकर बात करता था. अपने जो आइडियाज, जो व्यूज होते थे, वो उनके साथ शेयर करता था. ठीक है, एंड whoever met him started liking him. जो भी उससे मिलता था, they liked him, है ना. His face would brighten, unaware, and shine upon them as with a mild evening light. कैसा होता था when he talked to them? तो बस ये है कि that all kindness, that affection was clearly there on his face. ठीक है, तो he met with everybody so kindly, so gently, and so affectionately. This all is given in this first paragraph. Now, Niyati.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, 1 minute. Sir, may I read after Niyati?
Yes.
No, sir, you said that after Niyati, Sarvakya will read.
So who is asking?
Ninansha.
Okay, Ninansha, read after Sarvakya.
Okay, sir.
Yes, beta.
While Ernest had been growing old, God had granted a new poet to his earth. He too was a native of the valley, but spent the greater part of his life in distant cities, pouring out his sweet music everywhere. Neither was the great stone face forgotten. The poet had celebrated it in a poem. The songs of this poet found their way to Ernest. He read them after his customary toil, seated on the bench before the cottage door. As he read, he lifted his eyes to the mountain. O great stone face, he said, is not his is not this man worthy to be our likeness.
Your likeness.
Your likeness.
And the face seemed to smile but did not answer. Now, here we have seen that there is a poet. He was also from that valley only, and he has written some great poetry. And this has influenced Ernest a lot. Ernest was impressed with the ideas in the poems, and when he goes through the poems, when he reads the poems, he believes that this such a poet with such good ideas must definitely be the likeness, must definitely possess the likeness of the great stone face. जरूर ये इंसान जो है, जो पोइट है, ये ग्रेट स्टोन फेस से सिमिलैरिटी उसमें जरूर होगी, और वो ये क्वेश्चन स्टोन फेस से भी पूछता है कि इज नॉट दिस मैन वर्दी टू बी योर लाइकनेस, है ना? लेकिन स्टोन फेस simply smiles at him and doesn't answer. Because it was a stone face, how could it answer? But yes, Ernest always felt that he is able to hear what stone face says. ठीक है, तो इस समय उसको कोई आंसर नहीं मिला, but the stone face kept on smiling at him, didn't say anything. Yes, sir, Valti.
Yes, sir. Now it happened that the poet, though he lived so far away, had not only heard of Ernest, but had thought much about his character and wished to meet this man whose wisdom walked hand in hand with the noble simplicity of his life. One summer day, therefore, he arrived at Ernest's door, where he found the good old man holding a book in his hand, which he read and then, with a finger between the leaves, looked lovingly at the great stone face. "Good evening," said the poet. "Can you give a traveller a night's shelter?" "Gladly," answered Ernest. And then, and then he added, smiling, "I think I never saw the great stone face look so hospitably at a stranger."
Okay. So, who was this visitor?
Poet.
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 Did Ernest know that he is the poet?
Yes, sir.
इसकी बुक वो पढ़ रहा है, क्या यही वो पोएट है? ऐसा अर्नेस्ट को पता था इस वक्त?
No, sir.
तो पोएट ने क्या बोला था उसके पास आके? He says, "Can you give a traveler a night's shelter? So can you let me stay here for a night?" है ना? And Ernest allows.
So may I read?
और दूसरी बात उसने और एक बोली थी, आप यहाँ पे देखो, "I think I never saw the great stone face look so hospitably at a stranger." है ना? तो that day he saw a little change in the expression of the stone face also. है ना? अर्नेस्ट ने ये ऑब्जर्व किया कि at the visit of this person he saw more gentleness, more kindliness in the expression of stone face. Yes, beta, Ninansha.
Yes, sir. The poet sat down beside him, and he and Ernest talked together. Never before had the poet talked with a man like Ernest, so wise and gentle and kind. Ernest, on the other hand, was moved by the living image flung out of the poet's mind. As Ernest listened to the poet, he imagined that the great stone face was bending forward to listen to. He gazed into the poet's eyes. "Who are you, my gifted guest?" he asked. The poet laid his finger on the book that Ernest had been reading.
हाँ बेटा, उसका इंट्रोडक्शन तक पढ़ लो, यहाँ तक पढ़ लो.
Yes, sir. You have read these poems, said he. You know me then, for I wrote them again and again.
बस
Ernest?
बस बस ये हो गया ना, इंट्रोडक्शन हो गया ना.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, तो they started talking, and what, how did Ernest feel that the stone face was bending forward and trying to listen to their conversation? This is how he felt. And then he asks for his introduction, that who are you, my gifted guest. और वो बताता है कि as you are reading these poems, then you know me. अगर तुम ये poems पढ़ रहे हो तो तुम मुझे जानते हो, क्योंकि इनको मैंने लिखा है. This is how he introduces himself, that he was the poet. Yes, we can go through this part also. We have time. Who would like to read from here?
Sir Chahit.
Yes.
Again and again, Ernest examined the poet's features. 1 second, sir. He turned towards the great stone face, then back. He shook his head and sighed. Why are you sad? Inquired the poet. Because, replied Ernest, all through life I have awaited the fulfillment of prophecy. And when I read these poems, I hope that it might be fulfilled in you. You hoped, answered the poet, faintly smiling, to find in me the likeness of the great stone face. I am not worthy to be its likeness.
जब अर्नेस्ट को पता चलता है कि ये पोएट है, तो अर्नेस्ट थोड़ा सा सैड दिखने लग जाता है. और जब पोएट पूछता है कि व्हाई वाज ही सैड, ही गिव्स अ प्लेन सिंपल स्ट्रेट आंसर कि व्हेन आई रेड these poems and when I went through the ideas of the poet, I always believed that the prophecy will be fulfilled and the poet of these poems will be the likeness of the stone face. But he was disappointed because when he met him, he did not find the likeness. तब poet उसको बताता है कि you thought I will be the person with likeness to the stone face, but he tells that I am not worthy to be its likeness. है ना? I am not worthy to be like the stone face. क्यों? What reason he gives? Who will read it? Isn't there anyone else in the class? Shall I repeat the cycle?
May I?
Who asked?
So Samrati.
No, Samriddhi, you have read. That means I am coming back to you. And which means there is no one else who can read in the class. Why so? I can see Ninansha, Samriddhi, Aniket, Prakhar Modi. ये चारों पढ़ चुके हैं. Chahit has also read. Niyati has also read. Sarvagya?
Sir, I have
He
read.
has also read. Yes. Pranav Pradhan did not read. Rishika did not read. Kritika Chauhan did not read. Sahil Khan did not read. And they are still not willing to read. Why so? Is reading really such a difficult thing? Chalo. I don't want to force it on anyone. Coming back to Samriddhi.
Sir, may I?
Samriddhi, first Samriddhi.
Yes.
In the same order, बेटा, because हमारे पास यही 6 बच्चे हैं जो रीड कर सकते हैं. बाकी लोग नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. जो लोग नहीं विलिंग हैं करने के लिए, उनसे मैं नेक्स्ट क्लास में बात करूंगा. ठीक है, वी हैव लिटिल टाइम लेफ्ट. चलो समृद्धि, रीड वन पैराग्राफ.
Yes, sir. And And why not? Asked Ernest. He pointed to the book. Are not those thoughts worthy? You can hear in them the distant voice of heavenly song. But my life, dear Ernest, has not corresponded with my thoughts. I have had grand dreams, but they have been only dreams. Sometimes I lack faith in my own thoughts. Why damn poor seeker of the good and true? Should you hope to find me in the face of the mountain? The poet spoke
ठीक है,
sadly and
just a minute. Stop. Ernest says कि क्यों नहीं हो? इतने इतने अच्छे आइडियाज हैं तुम्हारे. Why do you think you are not worthy? Then poet tells that you can hear in them the distant voice of a heavenly song. उनके अंदर तुम्हें कौन सा वॉइस सुनाई देगा? डिस्टेंट वॉइस ऑफ अ हेवनली सॉन्ग. दूर के ढोल आपको सुनाई देंगे जो अच्छे लगते हैं. वो चीजें जो दूर से ही अच्छी लगती हैं हेवनली लगेंगी आपको. बट द रियलिटी इज नॉट लाइक दैट. ही सेज माय लाइफ हैज नॉट कॉरेस्पॉन्डेड विद माय थॉट्स. जो मेरे थॉट्स है ना, थॉट्स बहुत अच्छे लग रहे हैं, बहुत वाइज लग रहे हैं, बहुत नोबल लग रहे हैं, लेकिन माय लाइफ इज नॉट लाइक दैट. I am personally not like that. So what you write, what you say, if you do not practice in your own life, then there is no worth of saying that those good things. आप अच्छी अच्छी बातें बोलते हो लेकिन आप खुद वो सब नहीं करते हो, तो फिर उन बातों की क्या वैल्यू है? ठीक है. Then he says, I have had grand dreams, but they have been only dreams. Sometimes I lack faith in my own thoughts. He says कि उसे अपने ही थॉट्स में फेथ नहीं है. तो फिर एंड हाउ डज ही एड्रेस हिम? प्योर सीकर ऑफ द गुड एंड ट्रू. आप जो पूरे सच्चे मन से गुड एंड ट्रू, सही और अच्छी चीज की तलाश कर रहे हो, है ना, उसको ये होप नहीं करना चाहिए कि मेरे अंदर आपको स्टोन फेस की लाइटनेस मिले. This is what he says and tells that he doesn't possess the lightness of the stone face. Chalo, remaining thing we'll do in the next class. You can mark it here. We'll continue with this and we'll finish the lesson in the next class. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
यहाँ तक क्लियर है सबको?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
यहाँ
sir.
तक सबको
Yes,
क्लियर
sir.
है बेटा?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, बेटा, fine.
Thank you, sir.
So if you
Sairam
do not
sir.
have anything to
Thank you,
ask,
sir.
you can leave the class. Yes.
Thank you,
Sairam
sir.
बेटा.
Sairam,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Saram, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sairam, sir.